Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to another episode of All Chiefed Up. The Chiefs beat the Raiders last night in a Monday Night Football matchup, divisional win, 30-29. Steve, what'd you think about the game, man?
Let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room here. I'm glad the Chiefs won and all, but this officiating was absolutely atrocious. That call on Chris Jones, that just makes the NFL look totally not credible, invalid, pointless, moot. If you can't tackle a quarterback, the game is trash. You've ruined football.
Right. I don't think I've yelled at my TV that much since I don't even know when. I don't know what Chris Jones is supposed to do there. He wraps him up. He tackles him. Yes, he falls on top of him with his full weight. Chris Jones is 300 pounds. What's he supposed to do? Is he supposed to go on a keto diet halfway down and lose 20 pounds so he don't fall with his full weight? What's he supposed to do? I don't understand the call.
All that's happening is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers being complete vaginas for the last 10 years has made this a not football anymore. It's bull crap, it's crybaby stuff, it's stupid, and it's to the point to where I almost just left and didn't watch the rest of the game. I almost quit watching football because what is football if you can't do the one objective you're supposed to do?
Dude, I tweeted that right after that play. I was like, if this is what the NFL is starting to become, I don't want to watch it.
No, it's a joke.
I don't want to tune in and watch flag football. I don't want to tune in and watch two-hand touch. I can go down to the local park and watch people do that.
Look, I tweeted that I would do something if I was Andy Reid. The fact that they let this stuff keep going is unreal. Get out to the middle of the field on the logo and refuse to move. Don't put your team back on the field. Throw stuff. Everyone in the crowd should be embarrassed that they didn't throw stuff onto the field. And literally, if you don't make a scene about it and do something about it, it's going to continue to happen week in and week out because the NFL will do what they do best and ignore it and just do it again next week. There won't be anyone reprimanded. The refs won't be held accountable. No one cares, and it'll happen again next week, and everyone will cry about it. But right then was the time to do something about it, and no one did it.
Hey, look, you can't throw stuff on the field.
Yeah, you can.
That's insane. But I'll tell you what you can do.
I condone it in that situation.
They booed the officials for about 45 straight minutes. I do not blame them in that situation. Look, there's nothing the crowd can do. There's nothing teams can do. You know what they can actually do?
Just not play. Just stop. Look,
you had the Falcons coach yesterday get up there and whine and cry around the question. If Andy Reid comes out today and does the same thing, it's not going to get changed. These coaches got to start sticking up for the players and the hard work they put in. It can't be ruined and dictated by these stupid rules. And we all act like as if Tua was the first person in history to have a concussion. This has nothing to do with the tackle. It was a tackle. He accidentally hit his head. This has nothing to do with changing the rules. The rules should be Miami Dolphins doctors should be the ones in trouble for getting them back on the field and starting them the next day. That's where the problem is, not the tackle. So I didn't think they could be as bad as they were with Brady, but I tell you what, that Chris Jones was worse. This is 2 Chris Jones penalties now, and the dude can't catch a break. He's getting held up the middle right there at the end. No flags. Chris Jones is the most picked on player in the NFL, I'm convinced. And by the way, if they're going to start calling that crap, how come they didn't call the Mahomes tackle where they flung him around and dropped him on his head?
They only want to call it when they want to call it. That way they can dictate games. That's all it is. It's stupid. I'm over it completely. I think it's stupid. And that wasn't the only bad call because let me tell you right now, Devontae Adams, those 2 pass interference calls were both BS. You can't just terribly underthrow your receiver. And then when they try to run over the DB to get back to the ball, you call DPI. Insane. The referees are absolute garbage. And even on the last drive, Chris Jones had him sacked again. Would have been the end of the game.
The hold.
And they blatantly hold him by his face mask and his jersey right in front of the referee for the whole world to see. Jesus, everybody saw it. And you just don't call it because that would have ended the game. So we got to go ahead and give them a chance to get down there. I honestly believe the only reason that the Raiders didn't win that game is because they're so stupid they ran into each other. I feel like everything was handed to them to get back in field goal range for their kicker, who's automatic to win that game, and they screwed it up because they're that stupid.
Hey, I was just going to say, when they hit each other on that play, I'm very surprised. That dude come in from the back line. He wanted to throw. He had his hand on the flag, just running and waiting.
He wanted to.
They were looking for something. But I tell you what, enough about the officials. We can all agree that the officiating crew in the NFL is a joke. It's got to be addressed or it's going to start losing credibility for the league. They've got to figure out this stupid problem. We're not getting into two-hand touch. I'm telling you right now, the only way you're going to beat this is to stop supporting a league that's going to do that, quit putting money in their pocket. I hate doing that. That takes away money out of our pocket. But come on, guys, you got to draw a line somewhere. These officials got to be held accountable. We got to get rid of these calls that are
Yeah.
interpreted, because let me tell you something, they interpret their way into losing situations like they do with us all the time. You seen Max Crosby get in Patrick Mahomes' face tonight and headbutt him, and no flag. But yet Chris Jones gets a flag for some kind of phantom word that we still don't know about to this point.
No,
So it's a joke.
they're
But
running
let's move
football.
on.
They're
Yeah,
running football. End
they're
of
running
story.
it. They're running it. But let's get on to the game. Okay, what do you think, Steve, about the way the Chiefs come out playing? Because I thought Andy Reid's first 15 was a little abysmal, and I thought the way that he held those tackles on an island like that with no help, no running back chips, no anything, and actually not even getting a running game established. He come out with a couple delayed handoffs again, got
Yep.
away from the power. We went directly in the opposite direction of what we were building on against the Bucks, right there, right off the rat.
We knew it was coming. We knew that he wasn't going to stick with that. And what did he do? He went right back to it. The delayed handoffs, the shotgun handoffs, those never work. I don't know why he continues to do it. A few did work out in Jarrett McKinnon's favor tonight. That was just because he was being patient and finding the hole. But like you said, a lot of people's going to give Orlando Brown a lot of crap. They have all year, and rightfully so sometimes. But when you know you have a tackle that does not do good with a speed rusher, and they put a speed rusher on him the whole game, and you refuse to even put someone over there to chip him, that's on you. That's on coaching. And then, not to mention, a lot of the times when Chandler Jones was getting in the backfield, it wasn't Orlando Brown. These plays were designed where Orlando Brown didn't even touch him. He's supposed to be getting hit by a pulling guard like Allegretti or someone like that, and they weren't making it there. So I mean, it was just the offensive line had a rough night. Our running game was crap, and it was because of the play calling. I think they just couldn't get in a rhythm. It was a classic Andy Reid stinker where he come out with the first 15 that sucked. His game plan sucked, and he almost didn't adjust. It took a long time for him to adjust.
Yeah, well, I seen an interview with Mahomes after the game. He said he went to the offensive line after the first few series. And he was like, "Look, guys, if we're gonna win this, it's you guys." And we had been saying that. That was our number one most important key, that you had to slow down Max Crosby, you had to slow down Chandler Jones. And these tackles, look, man, Wiley was getting beat pretty bad. It's not
Wiley
just yeah, it
stunk.
wasn't just on OBJ over there on the left side, because I'm with you. Allegretti coming in and Trey Smith missing this game kind of hurt the chemistry a little bit. There was a lot of communication issues, but they did get it together. I will give it to them. They started rough, but they got it together. Mahomes started getting time in the pocket. He got comfortable. Travis Kelce, man, he impressed tonight. I don't know how he has a stat line where he's got more touchdowns than receiving yards, but he almost pulled it off.
I don't know, man. I think my player of the night on offense has to go to Marquez, man. He really showed up. He made a lot of good catches. He had one stinking drop that was terrible,
That was
but
bad.
but other than that, I mean, he had a great game. He made some great catches. He was running great routes, and he's so fast. We should be using him like that. Juju played decent. He also had a drop here and there, but I mean, they both had good games. It was good to see the receivers get in, and then Sky Moore looked good at the end of the game. That's what we should be doing with Sky Moore all the time, and I don't understand why it just randomly happens in the end of the third quarter in a close
Right.
game.
Well,
I don't know.
I think it waited to the fourth quarter this time to
Was
even
it?
get him involved, and maybe the last drive. But I thought McKinnon come in and provided a big spark when we needed him to there in the second quarter, I believe. He
Yeah.
ripped off a few big runs. He looked pretty good. I thought McKinnon was clearly the back of the night when it comes to the groundwork.
I think they missed an
Pacheco,
opportunity. They missed an opportunity with Pacheco. He could have tore that up,
yeah, I do
and
too.
they
They didn't
never put him
even.
in.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
only had a couple carries. They didn't give him a chance. I mean, we were playing down a little bit, but we created our own problems. Not to mention that at one point, we missed the field goal, so we're at -3. The officials had 7 points on the Devontae Adams touchdown catch. That was a complete junk.
Yeah.
Well, not the touchdown catch, but the touchdown penalty against Watson. But by the
Yeah.
way, how much of a stud was Jalen Watson? I thought he matched up well against Devontae Adams. We kind of said that's what happened. And early in the game, they were relying on Fenton. And Fenton wasn't up to task, man. Steve, you can put the finger down, bro. You hate Jalen Watson.
Look, but I called it. I said that you need to put Jalen Watson on Devontae Adams because he's going to cover him just as well as the other guys, and they would be trying to exploit it because it's a seventh round pick on Devontae Adams. And you know what? Fenton sucks. I mean, he's not good. He don't tackle. He refuses to tackle. He goes up and tries to arm tackle and hug people like he was in Honey Badger University. It's terrible, and he can't cover. They need to really take a good hard look at
I mean,
Fenton.
Fenton's at a point in his career. I don't know if he has any trade value, but that's a guy I would maybe be looking to move
Yeah, like a
like
Steven
before the
Nelson,
trade deadline.
like get rid of him real quick. But no, Jalen Watson played great, and I feel like that he really was the key there in slowing Adams down. Adams didn't have as good of a game as you think he did. He had that one blown coverage, and then a lot of penalties. But I mean, really, for the most part, I feel like they did what they needed to do. The run defense looked pretty rough, but I think that was attributed to a couple different things. Of course, Willie Gay's out, and Nick Bolton, he played excellent again. But I mean, if Nick Bolton's not where he can get to a play on a run play, it kind of we miss up front. We always do.
Yeah, we kind of called that the defensive line needed to create some pressure. There really wasn't a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. We started off, getting to him a little bit. Karlaftis got a half sack with Frank Clark. We
That
said
was
he
a
was going to
full
get his
sack.
first sack.
It was
I
full
thought it
sack.
was a full sack, but
I
they
think they
counted it
gave
as a half.
Oh,
No,
did
they've
they?
counted. ESPN box score says half. I think that's a ripoff. I think RGR called him and got that
Man,
switch.
hey, Frank Clark had a great game before he went out sick or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder
He
what
looked
happened
real.
with Frank. We'll have to
They
figure that
said they
out.
said he wasn't feeling well, but he looked really good actually. Blew up a run play at the sack. He was getting all kinds of pressure, but I hated to see him go out. But
Yeah, Chanel. I seen Leo Chanel in the field a lot tonight. Kind of ineffective though. He didn't do the things that we brought Leo in to do to be physical. He was getting beaten the hole a lot. He was getting he couldn't get off his blocks. He wasn't really blowing nothing up. I think he had one or two decent plays, but not that great of a performance by Leo, I don't think. A lot of people were crying because we wasn't putting safeties over the top to help Fenton and to help Watson. But to be honest, that Fenton play was just blown. I think there either had to be some kind of blown coverage or Fenton just like lost him,
no, Fenton
and it's
got
on Fenton.
absolutely roasted on that.
Yeah, and
Like he
then
was
the
supposed to be covering him man the whole time, and he got beat by 10 yards.
right, and then that penalty there in the first half on the right side. There was a safety coming over. Cook was a little late. The play they called where he underthrew it. Watson was in his face. That was a perfect play by Watson. That was
I mean,
just
it was a carbon copy of the other one because let's be
yeah.
honest, Fenton didn't do anything either. It
And
was the
then
same deal.
yeah, and then you had Watson and you had Cook on that late touchdown by Devontae Adams. That was a perfectly thrown ball. I'm telling you, Baby Carr
Yeah,
couldn't have put it any better.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
could have defended that. I'm
I was
sorry,
in
but that was
shock.
just a good play.
I was
Me
in
too.
shock. I actually
That's
was just like, no way that he just hit that like that.
that's the
Like,
one thing I wrote down is that
good grief.
Baby Carr did not beat himself tonight. And I
No.
thought he would, and he was in
Well,
position. He
when
actually
you're
had
not allowed
100.
to hit him, when you're not allowed to
Right.
hit him, you're not going to rattle him. Because let me say this: if they wouldn't have gave that call against Chris Jones and gave him the ball back, that would have been in his head all night. That sack fumble.
I think
Uh,
so.
but why? When you're not allowed to be hit, then you're okay. You
Right.
don't have any reason to fear it.
Yeah, he sat in the pocket. He dealt. He went 19 for 30, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked twice, had 110.6 QB rating. But let's get into Mahomes because Mahomes had a heck of a game tonight. 29 for 43, 292, 4 touchdowns. He got sacked 3 times, but he had a 117.6 QB rating. I thought Patrick Mahomes at times looked a little weird there in the first quarter, and I was like, "Here we go, man. We're settling in it." It kind of had that eerie
He had
Colts
that,
game feeling or
yeah, he had
something,
that look on his face like he didn't even care if he was
right?
there or not.
And
Kind of like
then
the Bengals game, and
you
yeah.
seen him look over, and he said, "I'm here, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here." And Andy Reid was holding him back, and right there, I had
Something.
tweeted right before when it was 17-0, and I tweeted and I said, "Guys, if 17-0 scares you at all, you haven't been watching enough Patrick Mahomes."
Right.
And from then on, we ripped off. We won. I'm going to take full credit for keeping Chiefs Kingdom sanity and to keep us on the positive side. Because let me tell you, when you got Patrick Mahomes back there, baby, you're never out of a game.
No, I mean, he's just great, man. He made all kinds of really good throws tonight. There was one play, just silly. Like it was another sidearm throw, like around a guy, like just insane. Mahomes did create some of his own pressure tonight a couple of times,
Yeah, he did that.
but I mean, that's just a given with him. I think you got to take that bad with the good, and his good definitely outweighs the bad by a long shot. So it just is what it is. But I mean, overall, I don't feel like the Chiefs played a terrible game. I don't feel like they played a good game, but they did do enough to win, and that's all that matters, despite the horrible officiating. And let me tell you something. I just want to bring this up. Devontae Adams is a classless piece of trash. Like, did
Steve,
you see the end of the game?
Steve, you're full of hot takes tonight.
No, it's not a hot take. You didn't see it
I
when he
didn't.
He ran into Hunter Renfro and looked like fools and lost the game because they ran into each other like
Okay,
the
I've
Three
seen that.
Stooges.
Okay.
I think he continued to throw his helmet, and then he picked it up and he walks off the sideline and literally pushes a camera guy and knocks him down for no reason. Just a complete piece of trash. And if he don't get fined by the NFL or suspended, that's a joke too, because that's just uncalled for. Camera guy was just doing his job. You got, rich, snobby, I can do whatever the heck I want. Devontae Adams acting like he owns the world. I wish he would have got punched in the mouth, dude. Just a piece of
Hey,
trash.
dude, the way those officials are starting to call games, I'm telling you, as soon as they started calling that game the way they did, and the fans started turning on them. You seen the players get chippy. There was starting to be some fights there because the Chiefs were starting to take it a little personal.
Good. We needed that.
Yes, this is the kind of stuff you're going to have in the NFL if they don't get this reined in. It's becoming too interpretive. It's too much of a baby sport. These guys sign up. They make millions and millions of dollars that the average person couldn't even dream about to go out there and put their bodies on the line. I'm all for keeping them protected, but they know the risk and they get paid for that risk. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does dangerous jobs. You get paid to do dangerous jobs. You can't pay these guys that much money and then put them in a bubble. You can't do it. Like, you got to let them play. We got to get this under control. But yeah, man, let's give one more player I want to give a shout out to a little bit tonight. I thought he looked good. He's still battling injury. I thought Miko had a pretty good night, and I think he gets a little credit. He had 4 receptions for 73. He moved the chains on a couple, third downs. I thought Miko looked pretty good. He's still battling through that heel injury. That one time I thought he hurt himself pretty good. He ends up coming in and taking a ball and getting a first, I think.
Right. Was that, I thought it was his heel at first. Was it maybe a cramp? Because he came back out and he was fine.
Yeah, I was thinking heel too, because that's just what you're thinking at that moment. But it had to be something because he never really favored the heel afterwards. But I thought Miko done well.
McCall had a good game.
Now they're on that not fourth down. They're in the fourth quarter
on
that third down.
Stupidest play call.
Mahomes missed that pass.
I don't care.
Mahomes would have put that to the side.
I don't care.
I'm with you though.
You need 3 yards to cap the game. You need 3 yards to win the game. And that's the play you drew up.
Yeah,
like you could have screened it to Sky. You could have thrown it to Kelce over the middle. You could have ran the ball. There's so many different things you can do to get 3 yards and cap a game, and you do that.
But you don't take that shot right there.
That's
I don't
stupid.
like that play. And see, that's what I'm saying.
Ignorant stuff, man.
Sometimes the coaches get in their own ways a little bit. But I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good game all around. Not great, but considering what we had to go up against, and the at least the officials, they come out wearing the Raiders colors, which if you're going to give them the calls, go ahead and wear the uniform, and they got that tonight.
All right, guys, thanks for liking, subscribing, hitting that bell. If you haven't watched these top 5 plays from Mahomes versus the Raiders, make sure to click that right now and watch that while we're dialing up what plays we are going to break down tomorrow, and we will see you then. Aside from my soul.